Hi, it's Andrea Foulkes. I haven't made a video for ages. I'm just looking at the date on the clock. It's the 24th of January, 2013. And I was just going out of the house, so I just kind of got this intuitive, no, stop, make a video. And you're like, oh, really now? And really, even that teaches you to live in the now. And I kind of pretty much live in the now. So I kind of honour that call to do something, and I think that's really important for all of us now. I mean, this last month or two, big energy shifts have been coming to Earth, and how we have personally been experiencing those is an individual process. It's kind of like a pressure coming in and forcing stuff out. And I personally never get a cold very often, but I've had like a head cold for like maybe 10 or 11 days, and when you get that in your head, it's like a bubble, like of cotton wool. And I find it really interesting because I have to be in the now. I mean, even more present in the now than I am in my everyday, because the cotton wool experience in your head is your mind can't drift at all. There is no opportunity for your mind to drift. You have to be totally kind of present in the now, and that's a real gift if you can see it as a gift. And if you can think, okay, I need to relax, I need to make some more time for myself to just really go inward and shift this energy out. And I can feel it shifting, and now all that's left is a tiny little block in one of my ears, and I feel it's gonna pop and I'm gonna go boom, even more cosmic, you know. So I see it as a gift. I see the cold as a gift because there's no other way to see it. It's happened for a reason, to help me shift more consciousness, to release, you know, other things I don't need anymore. And even in my own experience, I found a picture from my childhood the other day, and it was a really interesting picture without going into too much detail. It was just a picture that had got superimposed a picture of my mother on top of myself. And then I tuned into it, and I kind of felt I didn't need to keep this picture anymore. And so I threw it into my log burner, and it was quite funny because it was smouldering. Because it's an old picture, you know, when we used to print them out on old-fashioned photography paper and everything. But what was interesting was when I opened the log burner and looked inside, was a little heart on the photo, which I was like, oh, I did the right thing. You know, I knew I did the right thing because I felt to burn this photo was the right thing. It was symbolic, it was releasing something. So often when we burn things, it's very powerful. We're making an affirmation to ourselves that we're releasing, we're letting go of the past, because that's all we're doing. And one of the other things that comes to mind as I'm speaking is to talk about really the new way I've been working with clients. And, you know, the old way, which was beautiful and perfect in its time, was that I would work with one-to-one, like the regressions that you see, the clips on YouTube from my time when I was regressing celebrities and members of the public on TV. And you have to bear in mind that that was for TV, and it was edited to within an inch of its life. And apart from the ones on this morning, which did show a little bit of the healing aspect, the ones when it went to Have I Been Here Before were purely really for entertainment purpose, as in, can we prove this past life? And so the work that I have continued to do with my one-to-one clients has evolved and changed. You know, it wasn't just about past lives, it was about inner child clearing. That's anything from being in the womb in this lifetime to present day. And we get fragmented soul consciousness and ancestral programming, because you have to clear the ancestral timeline. You have to discern. I often talk about this in other videos. You have to discern, is it soul lineage or birth lineage? And often it's a culmination of both. But what I was gifted sort of last November time, it's like a whole year and a bit ago, was I started to speak something called soul light language. And I have little clips of that. And what happened was that Spirit gave me a more evolved way to work with my clients that was not only life enhancing for them, but it was life enhancing for me because I moved out of London. It gave me a way to continue doing what I do in a new shape and form. And it might not be appropriate for everyone, but those of you who are able to work on that level, it's really powerful because it goes back to the gift that I had in the beginning, which didn't ever come across on TV, is that I'm a visionary intuitive. I can read all timelines. It's effortless really for me to do it. It takes more energy to regress you conventionally than it does for me to tune into your timeline, but I'm not tuning into your timeline in a way that disempowers you. I'm doing in a way that wants to empower you back to yourself, helps you clear the karmic blockages that are why you're not totally in your power. And it's a process, you know, it's a process to eventually get you into the sacred heart. So when I read your timeline, what I'm doing in the Skype and the one-to-one sessions is I'm able to tune in a little bit intuitively before the session, and I get a rough oversight of where you are emotionally. This isn't about predicting futures because that's kind of naff, and everything is in the potential to change. It's not set in stone. The more inner journey work you do on you, the more your outer reality can change, and it can change, you know, super fast, quick. So you don't want people planting negative seeds in your reality or limiting your reality. You want to be open to be the most expanded, amazing, cosmic version of you there is, in alignment with your own higher self, taking back your divine power and releasing blockages from your solar plexus, from your sacral chakra, your root chakra, your throat chakra, your third eye, your crown chakra. You want to release all that so eventually you fall into not an illusionary heart, which we've been living in third dimension. We've been living in a kind of illusionary heart, thinking we're in the sacred heart, and we're not. And so when you clear all those and you clear the illusionary heart, you get into the sacred heart. And this is where cosmic waves of divine intelligence come from within you. So the work that I'm doing in the Skype and the phone sessions is me reading your timeline, this life, past life, ancestral, emotionally, getting the key life, the key event, the key emotion to clear all that emotional blockage from your energy body by me sharing the story of your past life in a version that takes all the fluff out of it and just gives you what you need to clear your emotional energy field, to feel that emotion, and then for me to give you a personal encoded sound healing which comes through me to clear that chakra, to clear that emotion. And that's what happens in the sessions. We just keep processing stuff. The next thing comes up. You talk about how emotionally you feel, what's going on in your life, what thoughts come to mind as we're processing the emotions. But my main focus is to empower you back to yourself. It's not to take responsibility for you. It's to facilitate you to clear all that karma, all that limiting thoughts, all those limiting beasts. So eventually you're 100% connected to your authentic soul self again, and you can fly. You know, that's the whole point of this, is to empower people back to themselves. You know, my greatest joy is when someone is so empowered back to themselves, they don't need my help anymore. You know, I'm just like a distant memory of someone they maybe once knew or remembered. And, you know, that's when we're doing this work properly. That's when we're being an authentic light worker. When we're empowering people back to themselves. It's not to take responsibility for them. It's not to create codependency with them. It's not to manipulate them into more sessions because you want to make money. This is really low Babylonian manipulation energy, and it's not good. And I see so many people doing that. And of course, it is their free will, and it's your free will to book a session with that experience because maybe you need that experience. But what I would say is really use the greatest discernment that you have without even being maybe in the sacred heart. Use your discernment. Use you know, don't do false economy. You know, if something looks like it's cheap, there's possibly a reason why it is, and it's often a hook. You know, you want to be mindful of the hooks, because these are all experiences that you're having to eventually get to the place where you know, reclaim your own soul power back. And goodness me, I've been through this experience. It's like, you know, evolving your consciousness is a process, and it can be joyful, but we have to have these experiences, and it's not to take an experience away from anybody else, and it's not to badmouth other people as such. It's to give humanity their own experience of navigating their way in reclaiming their own power and becoming authentic. And so I think that was kind of maybe what this message was meant to be, was about being your authentic self. And, you know, in seeking assistance to reclaim your power from other people who do amazing work, whether it's me or somebody else, is to really tune in. If they're working in a new way, there is a reason that they're working in a new way. And if they're looking great and it's working for them and they look sparkly, then there is a reason why. Everything evolves and changes. Everything keeps evolving and changing. And so don't sabotage your own soul evolution by saying, oh, you know, I have to go and see that person in reality. I can't do it via Skype. I can't do it by the phone. It's not going to be as good. Only if I see them in person will it be any good. It's not true. It's not a truth. And what that does is stop you from having the sessions, stop you delay your own soul process, and then you make excuses and, oh, well, they're not in London now, I can't go and see them because the weather's terrible. You know, working on Skype, and I think we're going to see this more going forward, not just with myself. I mean, I know loads of people work doing teleseminars, webinars. That's something I would like to understand. At the moment, I don't have that knowledge at my disposal, and I would love, you know, for that knowledge to come into my reality now. I'm open to it. I have to change my website. Everything is changing now for me personally, and I step back, and I haven't had the world's greatest website for 2 years, and that again is for a reason. I drew in people into my reality who were not really life enhancing for me, but that was an experience I needed, and these people who were helping me really weren't. They were kind of sabotaging, but on another level they were helping me because they allowed me to take my power back. You know, someone who's telling you, I'm helping you, and you're like, ooh, but the evidence doesn't look like you're helping me, was a gift for me. It was a gift for me to learn to take back my authentic power. And so I've had that wonderful experience now. And you can't go sit in a corner going, oh, I had this terrible experience, so I'm going to ignore doing anything with websites and social media and Facebook and Twitter because it was all just, you can't. You've got to kind of regroup, reclaim your power, and if you do something where you're self-employed or you want to be self-employed, you have to kind of launch yourself out there. But it only comes more authentically when it comes from a place inside of you, and those people will just appear in your reality. And part of me maybe making this clip, although it appears to be sharing it with you, is to reaffirm to myself that I am changing. The way I'm working is changing. I don't have an absolutely clear physical picture of it, but I have emotionally connected with how it feels inside myself, and it feels ever more joyful, ever more flowing and effortless. And I think in the past, if I'm authentic, you know, running websites and things like that, it hasn't been effortless. It's been like, and I don't want it to be, I want it to be joyful and effortless and fun. And, you know, so that's something important in all of us, to find everything that's flowing and effortless for us. So I've waffled on way longer than I ever anticipated for this clip. And, I don't think it's appropriate for me to do a sound activation now, because I want it to be when my ear isn't completely blocked, because this just happened today. So yeah, so many blessings. Really enjoy yourself. The sun's shining in Avalon today, so I'm gonna go outside and enjoy that. And I hope in sharing probably what is an affirmation to myself, actually from a heart space, you know, send you love, and I hope it has some positive affirmation for you as well. So really consider in your heart, if you wanted to work with me, really consider during this period of weather as well that, you know, maybe the Skype and the phone is something that might be an option for you. Give it a half-an-hour session, see how that goes, see how that works for you. So many blessings. Have a fab day. Enjoy the sun and gaze at it. Gaze at the sun because it's great.